as you guys should know, I am a huge Pixar fan, and there's a great Pixar theory that connects all the movies in one universe. However, I have actually found a way that more concretely connects these movies. One where there are 3 timelines. This video will slowly be focusing on the primary timeline, as I call it, which connects essentially all the movies that make the most sense to live in one universe. So, shall we begin this Pixar theory upgrade, if you will? The timeline, of course, begins with Good Dinosaur. So we just see like dinosaur life and everything. We do know that dinosaurs did eventually get wiped out. We do know this from Rex, and spoiler alert, Toy Story exists in this universe. But yeah, we see humans and animals interact. Something that will be very important in this timeline. But yeah, that is how the Good Dinosaur begins the timeline. Then, as science and stuff like that begins to take over, we get the Incredibles, who are genetically kind of modified humans to help save the world during World War II. Kind of get the whole Incredibles thing. And then the Incredibles 2 happens, just kind of expanding on everything that I just talked about with the main Incredibles. But yeah. Supers do become legal again, and yeah, that's how Incredibles 2 fits in. And also, this is just how Incredibles 3 fits in, as I've previously described. We know they're doing Incredibles 3, so I'm just going to throw that in there. I don't know any specific details, so we know that Incredibles 3 is probably going to fit into the general thing of what I just said. But yeah, that is how the Incredibles trilogy fits in. And then, as kind of B&L, by and large technology, begins to take over, as well as some of Syndrome stuff from The Incredibles, toys are given life, as seen in Toy Story. And we learn that they experience emotions and everything, and yeah. Just kind of how Toy Story fits in. Then we learn that it's kind of dangerous for a toy to be away from its owner in Toy Story 2. And we know that toys can experience, like, romance, they can experience homesickness, they can experience, and they can experience just anything. They can even experience, like, claustrophobia and fear of abandonment. And then, in this world, animal intelligence begins to grow, as we see in Finding Nemo. And that these are very intelligent animals who are going on quests, and even have short-term memory loss, although possibly Dory was hatched in an aquarium, which perfectly leads into Finding Dory, which, again, we see the animals are very intelligent. They can even escape, like, in cars. They can drive cars. So, this is where the peak of the animal intelligence is the next few movies. Yeah. This even more continues with Ratatouille, where we see that they can have relationships with humans and help them. They can even cook. They can even make a stuck-up food critic not be so stuck-up or stuff like that anymore. But yeah, animals and humans can work together as they're in a society, and yeah. That is how kind of Ratatouille, again, this is like the peak of animal intelligence. And then we have Hoppers, which shows that humans and animals can really connect by humans even being able to transfer their brains into animals, as seen in the recent announcement for Hoppers. And yes, I am including upcoming movies in this, too. Years after the first 2 Toy Story movies, we get Toy Story 3, where we learn that toys essentially need playtime and kids to be alive, and that, honestly, they can even die if they're, like, burned or stuff like that, and that toys' lives aren't that, like, that they can genuinely go through some really hard stuff, but that they can also stick together and become, like, a family, and, yeah. And then Toy Story 4, we see that toys can like, kind of go through existential crises. We know that, like, if a child essentially plays with something as a toy, it can come to life, as seems forky. But yeah, we learn they can even, like, go off and have lives of their own, and almost become, like, almost immortal, as seen with Woody and Bo as lost toys and stuff like that. And then there's Toy Story 5, which possibly will delve more deep into the concept of toys needing kids to survive, as we know that Bonnie is going to become an iPad kid, and that she is kind of going to neglect her toys. And we don't quite know the specifics. I did make a kind of a pitch video on what's going to happen, but yeah. Then we learn how kind of beings in this world are created, and a soul, and how all that happens, and yeah, it's mostly just how, like, beings are created in this universe is what we see in Soul, and kind of like the emotional stuff, which leads perfectly into the next two movies in the timeline, Inside Out, which we see that human emotions control a lot of things, possibly even the toys coming to life, and that they can even be, like, forgotten, as seen with Bing Bong, and everything, and yeah, we essentially learn how the feelings work and how memory essentially powers almost everything, which will be really relevant in the next movie after this one, Inside Out 2, which again, kind of the same thing. We learn that emotions can almost completely take over someone's mind and make them a complete mess, as we see with anxiety. But yeah, again, emotion powers a lot. Again, that's probably the toys. That probably goes for the toys. But yeah, that's how Inside Out and Inside Out 2 fit into the timeline. Oh yeah, did I mention that this timeline is going in chronological order? Yeah. We also see that that memories power everything in Coco. We also see that that the great beyond is not the only place where you can go if you die. Possibly this land of the dead is created from beliefs and everything. And we see that human emotion is almost vital to the lives of everyone. And then, while I don't know much about Elio, this involves, like, space travel and just kind of a new frontier, which we see Elio kind of goes to space and everything. But yeah. So this is kind of the dawn of space travel, which we kind of saw with Buzz Lightyear and stuff like that, and how space is very important. Millions of years later, the Earth becomes completely decaying, as we see in WALL-E, and humans are completely evacuated to space, and just the entirety of WALL-E happens, but we do know that they do eventually grow, and the Earth thrives once again, and yeah. That is the primary Pixar timeline. In the next video, I'll discuss the secondary, which is a parallel, well, not really a parallel universe, but another kind of world for the movies that couldn't quite fit into this timeline, but they're still matched up in a concrete way. But yeah, make sure to subscribe and have a great day.